Now, what would you do if you were made president? The question we asked a little earlier. Well, a little girl called Lerato took the challenge head on when she was thrust into the presidency. This is the storyline from a newly released children's book. It's called Ms. President, and it celebrates the woman hero. To tell us more, I'm joined by the author Mapule Mohutlatsi, and she's here with three young heroes and book heroes, we can call them. 8-year-old Quinn Phillips, 10-year-old Joy Mavengere, and 10-year-old Smanga Simelani. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Pleasure.
I do think this is the first you got us off our couches and onto the floor where we all feel very, very comfortable. Thank you so much for coming in. I know it's Sunday and it's very early. So this is the book, Miss President. And let's start with the lady who wrote this book. Do you know that she's the lady that wrote this book? Mapule, thanks so much for coming in. This book is just so striking. The storyline is one thing, but just looking at it, Ms. President, and we have this gorgeous girl with ponytails and specs, and she just looks like she could be the girl next door. Tell us what led to you to write this specific story.
Well, when you look at children's books in South Africa, you get like a lot of elephants and giraffes and whatever, but like there's very little political education happening in children's books, and it's not like children don't hear of these things. I mean, they watch the news as well, they hear what's happening on the news, so they need books that inform them of such things as well.
And now, this obviously, is this your first children's book?
Yeah, it's my first book.
Okay. And did you feel that perhaps it's a storyline that was needed for children to hear?
Yes, definitely.
Tell us why you think that seems to be lacking.
I think it seems to be lacking because we underestimate children's potential politically and just in international relations and all these things. We just underestimate them a lot, and they probably might have a thing or two to teach us. We just need to ask them to.
Now, you come from a very serious literature background. You were an archivist with the Heritage Foundation. You've written for really top magazines. You've won awards and been nominated for awards for short stories. How did you have to adjust your technique, as it were, to write for children?
It's actually harder writing for children because you have to, the rhyming couplets matter, the sentences have to be shorter, but you still have to be entertaining. So it was a lot harder than like writing an essay or a short story. Or definitely.
And how long did it take you to be able to put it together?
It took us quite a while because I've never met the illustrator, so it was like a back and forth, a back and forth. The picture doesn't match the words, just change this. Also, it took us more than it should have, so it was like a year.
Wow.
And then for 32 pages.
And in your head, did you have an idea of what you wanted little Lerato to look like?
Yes. Even though I've never met the illustrator, people think she looks a bit like me.
Really?
So like, someone who looks like me, someone who looks like them.
Yes. How important do you believe that is for children, especially in South Africa,
I think
to be able to pick up books and see characters that look and
like
speak like them?
I think it's very important. When I was a young reader in the library, I met characters that were not like me, and I can't say I did not enjoy reading because of that, but definitely now that I study African literature and I'm reading people that look like me, it changes the reading experience. Like it brings it back home, and that matters.
Now, enough about us and talking about the idea of children's books. Let's go to the most important people here today. We've got Joy, we've got Quinn, and we've got Smanga, who have come in to join us, and their opinion matters. Now, we've asked them, they've already seen the book and read the story. Joy, did you enjoy this book?
Yes. Very
Why?
much. Because I think it talks about stuff that needs to be fixed, and it's inspiring because it's a kid fixing it, not adults and stuff.
Quinn, what did you think about the book? What was your favorite thing about it?
I liked how she gave books to all the children, and when they were bored, she helped them.
Okay, and Smanga?
I like when she became president, because just because you're little doesn't mean you can't do anything you want to do.
Well, there we go. Now, we've asked them.
What did I say about
did it make your heart explode a little bit? It makes it real, doesn't it? We've asked them to select their favorite pages from the book and to give all our viewers, because all your mommies and daddies and grannies and family and cousins are watching, we've asked them to select a page that they quite liked. Joy, which one did you like? Which page? Was it page 20 or page 21?
It was page 20.
Page 20. Will you read for us, please? Okay.
When Lerato is president, the following day, she orders that the streets be cleaned and made safe for play. She hands out piles of books to all the schools, gives away cake, outlaws spanking and other nasty rules.
Outlaws spanking and other nasty rules. I think this is a movement that children can get behind. Quinn, what was your favorite part of the book?
I liked when they celebrated her because she did a good thing.
Okay, so let's see if we can find that section.
I like that part as well.
Let's see if we can find that section of the book. It was after the phone call from the president.
After the phone call and
I believe.
the second, yes, the second,
there,
yes.
that's
Yes.
one. Would you mind reading for us page 19?
And so the president reappears, a little sheepish but all ears, ready to change gears. First, though, he asked that the nation celebrate the girl child who was energized them all. Lerato the victorious comes to join us. United call.
A united call. And the picture is just so beautiful. I mean, that is just spot on. There she is being
yeah.
thrown up amongst the crowd
Yeah.
and being celebrated for handing out books and for cleaning up the streets of the city and for outlawing spanking. I think you guys can use this book as rules in your house. Smanga, what was your favorite page?
My favorite page was page 20.
Also page 20. So that's the section that we've heard from already. Did you find, Manga, that it was easy to read? Because I was surprised there's some big words in here. Did you find it difficult to read or easy to read?
I found it a bit difficult to read.
Difficult? But did you learn new words?
Yes, I did.
Is it like which word? Can you remember? Is there anything that you can remember from there? Because I was quite surprised by the words like elation.
And methodical.
And methodical.
I'm always worried when I read the methodical.
Smanga, do you like reading books that are easy or difficult?
I like both, but mostly difficult, so I learn well.
Okay. And what did you think about the illustrations of the book? Did you think it was quite cool that Lerato looked like you and your friends maybe?
Yes.
Really? And do you see that in a lot of books? Would you like to see that more often in books?
I see that more often in books.
Okay, and it allows you to enjoy it more, doesn't it?
Yes.
Now, Quinn, we will also ask you in preparation for coming here, if you had to think of yourself being Ms. President, what is the first thing you would like to do as Ms. President?
Stop world hunger.
There, you see, very, very important. And you, Joy, did you give it a think?
Yeah, I would try to reduce the unemployment record in South Africa.
Thank you. Very, very well done. And Smanga?
I will clean up my community.
You clean up your community. So the things that Ms. Lerato, the Ms. President did, are all things that you guys believe that you would want to do in the areas that you come from as well. Do you think that children should be listened to more by our leaders?
Yes.
Is it? Okay. Well, I'm sure you watch the news and you listen to the news because you girls sound like you're very with it.
Very intelligent.
Very, very intelligent. Joy, what is it if you watch the news and you see what's going on in the world? What is it that upsets you the most?
Like sometimes people are not doing anything to change them. Like they're not doing as much as they can, and it's just sad.
And Quinn, when you watch the news, what upsets you?
It upsets that people die so young. Like they.
And you, Smanga?
What upsets me on news is that when I see people suffering or doing the wrong thing.
Okay. And now, I mean, we could talk to them for hours, and it just reminds you every time that we really should be not just hearing them, we should be listening
to them,
to what they say.
Like whenever I go to readings and you ask them, you hear such painful things, and you just it gets like stopping world hunger and things like it's just like it's a lot,
Oh, before we let these ladies go, I feel like we're going to solve the world's problems. Do you think the books that you get to read in school it gives you a better idea of what the world is like and what we could be doing to change it for the better? Do you think, I mean, do you have books like this at school that it allows you to talk about becoming president one day?
Well, not really. At school, like, we don't really talk about political stuff, and it's just like, because we learn stuff, but not political stuff like that's happening around the world, like real problems.
Do you think you should be talking about more relevant things?
Yes.
Okay. And you, Quinn, the kind of things that you guys talk about at school, do you think there's enough of it that has to do with what is happening in the real world?
No.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fiction.
A lot of fiction. And sometimes fiction is fun, like fairy tales, but you know, there are real things happening, aren't there? And you, Smanga?
Well, we do talk about a bit of politics at school, but not that much of it.
Okay. And the kind of characters, when you guys read books at school, do you believe the characters are relevant, or people that you can see around you, and they talk about things like Miss President does?
Yes.
Okay, so we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
But do you think more needs to be done to get these kinds of stories and get these kind of topics going amongst children?
Definitely. I think a lot more still needs to be done, especially giving them the pen. After this, we need to give them the pen and see what happens.
Now, often when I speak to friends who've got children, they more and more, because they are people of our generation, I include you in that, even though I'm sure you're younger than me, they are frustrated by the fact that there are most of the books that you see in the big bookstores, as you call it, are storylines that are more westernized, come from England, come from America, and the characters don't look like South African children. Why are we not seeing more of these kinds of books on the bookcases?
I think that it definitely is a problem with the South African publishing industry, because firstly it's the characters and also the location type of thing. So like, you can get a black girl in a book, but like, is her living condition, is it in the book? And also, so I feel like publishing is very much sales driven more than it is doing good driven type of things, and that's the worrying problem. I mean, the Pearl statistics came out not so long ago, and like grade 4s can't read with understanding. They can speak English, but they can't read with understanding. So what does that mean about the school system? What does it mean about our publishing system? I mean, you can sell books, but what are you doing to make them read the books? So I think it's definitely an individual problem, a global problem, our country's specific problem. But what are individuals and publishers, and we can't just blame government for
Now, how difficult was it to get this book published? Did you have to go with did you go with a big publisher? Did you do it all yourself?
It's an indie publisher. Every child books, they already have one book called The Hair Fair, which did relatively well. But it was harder to publish this because it was hard to put it, as you say, in the big stores. It was also hard.
Distribution is the key, isn't it?
Is the key. It was hard to put it in big stores. It's still hard
and to make it affordable.
To make it affordable, exactly. So we did. At some point, we thought we were not going to publish it, but then we were just like, let's just lose the money and see what happens.
Well, hopefully. I mean, the storyline is so enticing. Hopefully it does well. One more question for our superhero readers here with us. When you choose a book to read, what catches your eye first? Do you look at the cover and say, oh, that's a cool book? Or do you try and find out what the story is about? Joy?
I look at the title to see what it's about.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what grabbed you when you looked at the cover of Ms. President?
It's just so different than like other presidents and other books we get, so it's just exciting.
Do you want to be president one day? What do you want to be when you grow up?
I would want to be a psychologist.
We are winning already. Quinn, what grabbed you when you saw this book?
The cover, because there's a little girl on TV, and she's announcing that she will be in charge.
In charge. Do you like that idea of being in charge? What do you want to be one day when you grow up? Right now, what do you want to be one day? Because you can change your mind.
A famous dancer.
A famous dancer, and hopefully on cameras as well. And you, Smanga, what caught your eye when you looked at this cover?
The title.
The title?
Yes.
So when you saw the title, what did you think to yourself?
I thought this book would be very interesting.
Very cool.
Yes.
And what do you want to be when you grow up?
A teacher.
A teacher. Guys, we're going to be okay.
We're in good
aren't
hands.
we? Did you speak to, or did you do some focus group work, I suppose, with kids before you decided on your storyline?
No,
Is it?
no. It was just political education. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, there's some words in here that quite surprised me because they're quite big words.
Yeah.
Did you do that on purpose, or did you have to reel yourself in?
A lot of the book was rewritten, so a lot of reeling in had already happened. But like when I read the book now, I'm just like elation, methodical. But they learn. Like I learned like that as well.
And what is next?
What is next? A lot is next. Maybe another children's book. Definitely my thesis, and a lot
What
more
are you
is
writing
coming.
your thesis on? You're doing your
I'm
you're
doing-
doing a postgrad on African literature.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is your thesis going to be on?
I'm focusing on the world's oceans and like what's happening in them instead of around them.
But
Yeah.
it's an African literature.
It's an African lit, yeah. So I'm looking at books that imagine the deep ocean. Yeah.
Oh wow! I did not expect that. So maybe a character that maybe
the next time we have
frontier.
a submarine something going
That would be
underwater.
cool.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Wouldn't you like that? A superhero girl that goes and explores the ocean.
Yeah. That would actually that would
I
be really amazing.
I feel like we've come on to an
Yeah.
idea, and you need to name your characters after Smanga, Quinn, and Joy.
I promise. I promise.
We're going to leave it there for now. This has been an absolute joy. I think I'm going to be doing my news from this position onwards. It is the most comfortable place to
Yeah.
sit, isn't it? Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. You have been such a delight, and I'll be looking out for you and your future endeavors and all the books that you will read and maybe write one day. And of course, the author, Mapule Mohuhlatsi, the author of Ms. President, Little Lerato, taking over the world. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll have more after this. Your weather details are up next. Thanks for joining us.